Okay, so right now, before we create our serializers, let's go work on this what was it called, this featured image. Let's go configure our let's go configure our media routes over to the setting.py file. Yeah, in this static URL, just beneath it, we're going to add a media URL. We're going to say that should be equal to, let's say, img, right? Img forward slash. We're going to also add our media routes. Media underscore routes should be equal to, we're going to say the base directory slash, let's just say media. So these all our images will be, all the images we are going to upload is going to be stored in this media folder. So we are not done yet. So we're going to go over to our projects url.py file. Yeah, we're going to just say URL patterns. Going to say URL patterns plus equal to, going to say static, and then we'll say settings dot media underscore URL. I'm going to then say documents underscore roots should be equal to settings dot media underscore roots. So we have to import static and settings. So we're going to say from Django.conf import settings, and I'm going to say let's import. We're going to say from Django.conf .urls.static import static. Or what's happening? Import static. So we've got those two imported now. So we've already got our media URL configured. So whenever we upload our images, we are going to have a new folder called media created. And this folder is going to be the one housing the files we upload. Hope you understand. So that's it now. So what's next? Let's create our serializers for the blog. So here's our blog. So these are the fields. So to create a blog, so right now to create a blog, so I'm going to list out I think we need all the fields. We need everything, the title, we need all the fields, right? So over here, I'm going to say, let's create a blog. Let's create our blog. I'm going to say class blog serializer. I'll say serializers dot model serializer. And I will say class meta. I'm passing the model. Should be equal to blog. Right. So to save time out, let's import blog. I'm going to say from dot models, from the models.py file, import blog. So now passing this field, I'm going to just paste in this to save time. So we have all the fields from we have all the fields from where? From the blog model. So we got our serializers done. So what's the next step? So I'm going to create a view right away. Let me close some of these guys. Close. Let's create a view for that. So now, let me close this. Now let's say def creates blog. Right, so we're gonna have the requests. So what we're gonna do is simple. We're gonna then say serializer. Serializer should be equal to blog serializer. Blog serializer. So we have to import this guy. Let's import it. We're going to import it from blog app.serializers. So over here, since this file, since the model.py, since the views.py and the serializer.py file are both in the same app, there is no need for this blog app. You can just say from dot. since you're in the same folder, since you're in the same app, right? There is no need for that blog app I just removed. So now we've got our serializer. Right now we have imported our serializer. We've imported it, right? So since we are creating a serializer, we're going to pass in these fields. So it's going to be an object. We are going to pass in an object, and we're going to just say data should be equal to the object, and the object is called requests dot data. And then we're going to check if we're going to check if the serializer is valid. We're going to check if this serializer is valid, right? I'm going to say if serializer dot is valid. We're going to then say serializer dot save. They're going to return a response. Return response. I will say serializer dot data. And if there's an error, we'll just copy the same error message. But I told you that, remember I said before that you can only create a blog if you are logged in. Understand? So you can only create a blog if you are logged in. So we are going to add, so we have to make sure this, we have to add this API decorator. I'm going to say at API underscore view. So you can only accept a post request. To create a blog, you have to pass in you have to make a post request, right? So last we have to also add another permission. So we have to add another decorator called permission classes, right? And we also have to import, I'm going to say from REST underscore framework dot permissions. We're going to import is authenticated. So now we're going to simply add this new decorator. I'm going to say add permission classes. So we're going to say is authenticated. That means only logged in users can create blogs, right? Only logged in users can create blog. And one more thing is this now. Remember, our blog has the author field, and the author is simply the owner, simply the person that wrote this blog. You get? So how do we capture this author? Understand? How do we capture it? Simple. So right now I said that only logged in user can access this, can create blogs, right? So right here you can say user should be equal to request.user. This is the logged in user, right? So far you're going to say right now while we are saving the serializer, we're going to say author, this author right here should be equal to this user, the logged in user. So that's it. And once you're done, now let's go create a new URL mapping for this view. So over here, that should be in the app url.py file, your app, not in your projects, in your Django blog app. So I'm going to create a new URL path for the view. I'll just say paths. It's called create blog, and the name of the views is called create blog, and let's give the name create blog. So everything is the same. So since it is a post request, you are advised to add a / in front. So that's fine. So right now we've created the URL mapping for the blog, for our blog, for the blog views. So right now let's go register this blog in our admin.py file. Admin.py. So over here we'll just come over here and say class blog admin. Right, so I'm going to say admin.model admin, and yep, right now we're going to use a list display. List underscore display should be equal to, right, I want to show out, I want to display the title of the blog. For the title, I want to display the, let's say is drafts. What else? Let's also display the category of this blog, the blog's category. And let's also add the created arts of the blog. Created arts. I think those 4 are fine. Let's see if we can add any more. let's see the model. Let's see the blog model. I think those four are fine. So right now, yep. So let's import the blog. I'm gonna say import from the models file. So right now over here, I'll just say admin.sites.register. I'll pass in the blog and the blog admin. So this is done. So what's the next step? Down to refresh. Come on, come on. Hope our server is not down. Let's run the server again. Run server. So our server is back again. Refresh. So we can see we have the blogs now. We have the blog table showing now in the Django admin. Oh, we've not made migrations. Let's make migrations. We have to migrate the blog. Make migrations. Let's migrate now. Right now, let's run the server again. Okay, so refresh this page. Yeah, so we can now create our blogs. So remember the URL is, don't forget the URL. Make close. The URL is called create blog, right? Create blog. And before you can create your blog, it must be logged in, right? So before we proceed, as for the simple JWT, let's go back to it. So on the left now, click on looking for. So click on on the left panel. Click on settings. So since we want to configure. So we want to simply increase the lifetime of our token because by default our token only lasts for 5 minutes and 5 minutes is just too short. It's too small. So just copy this object. Let me just copy this. Copy this. Back to your settings.py file. To the bottom of the page. We'll paste this. This should be, let's just say 30 minutes. And let's close the objects. Let's add the closing brace. And we have to import time delta. Copy this command and then to the top of your page, to the top here. Yeah, so you're importing time delta. Let's run the server again. So right now it's time for us to create our blog. And if you're not logged in, you can't create the blog because of this decorator, right? We call the decorator on line 20. If you're not logged in, you can't. Right, so how do we log in and then create our blog? So back to your API. So now, by now, our access token has expired. I told you that it only lasts for 5 minutes. We have to create a new access token. So I'm going to create a new access token. Click on send. Click on send. Click on it. Don't waste time. What is it taking? Okay, now we've got another access token again. Gotten a new one. So right now I want to create our blog, right? So I'm going to come over here. To create a blog, the URL is called create blog. The endpoints create underscore blog. All right. So, and over here, remember you have to click on body and then click on form data. So now our blog needs the title. The title, I'm going to say, let's say Django REST for beginners. Our blog needs the contents, right? So I'm going to put this same thing as the contents. Our blog needs the slug. Remember, the slug is our slug is being generated automatically. Whenever we save, our slug is being generated, right? So let's leave the slug. Our blog, let's see what our blog needs. Let me open my my models. The blog also needs the okay. We don't need this draft. Is okay. Is true. Our blog needs category featured image. Let's add them as category. Remember, your category must be one of these. It must be. Let me close this, guys. Your category must be one of these five. Either technology, economy, business, sports, or lifestyle. So I'm gonna go for technology, right? Technology, and the featured image. Copy this. So click on this drop down here. Click on it. Choose file. So want to import. Want to upload the file, an image. I'll pick one of this my images here. One of this open. So that's it. I think we've gotten all the fields that we need. The other fields are being generated automatically. The other fields are being generated automatically. This is drafts. Is set to true by default, right? Okay, set to true by default, so it's not a problem. Leave that. So the other fields are being generated for us automatically. So I'll remove this password. We don't need it. Let's just delete it. Yeah. So we've got the title, the contents, the category, and the image, the featured image, right? So remember, you cannot create a blog if you're not logged in. Right now, we have our access token here. So copy this access token. Don't copy the quotes, just the token itself. Don't copy the quotes, just copy the token, copy, and back to, yeah, we are back here. So click on headers. Click on headers. So we're going to simply come over here and say authorization, authorization, and then we have to paste our token here. But before you paste your token needs a prefix. It needs a prefix. So the prefix is called bearer. I'll show you where the prefix is called bearer. Back to your browser, you can see from this simple JWT, if you scroll down, we have these auth header types. So here is where the bearer is coming from. It's called bearer, right? That's what the prefix is called, bearer. So back to VS Code. Remember here, because here's our VS Code. There's the body. The body is the body holds the object you want to pass the backend. It holds the block data. The headers is where you go and set your is where you go pass your token, whatever key you want to pass. Right now, I want to pass the authorization token, which is our access token. I told you that and that token requires a prefix called bearer, and then space, and then you paste in the access token. This is all you need to do. That's it. So back to your body now. So click on send. If you click on send, hopefully we get a new blog created. So it's a post request, remember. So click on send. Let's hope there is no error. Right now it says 200 okay. So let's take this up, drag it up. Right now you can see we have a new blog created. You can see the title, you can see the slug, right? You can see the image, everything, the author. Oh, the author was captured, but what we are having there is just the author's ID. So right now we are going to work on that so we can get the author's objects, the author's name, and some other information. So now I've go down to our backend. If you refresh, because now we have a new blog. Its draft is false. You can see it's working, right? You can create a new blog if you're not logged in. If you do not provide your JWT token, your access token, you can't create a blog, right? So that's it. Okay, there's a minor thing we need to fix. From this author field now, we want to return an object, not just the author ID, right? So how do we go about this? So it's simple. Back to your code, over to your serializers. So here's the field here, author. So we're going to create I'm going to create a auto serializer. I'm going to say class. I'm going to just say simple auto serializer. Right now we'll say serializers dot model serializer. And remember the auto is pointing out this is pointing to our user model. We're going to just say class metal. And we'll say model should be equal to get user model. And the fields we just need just 3 fields. I think the ID, the username, the first name, and last name. We just need these 4 fields. Last underscore name. So back here, back to the block serializer, we're going to then say auto should be equal to simple auto serializer, and we'll say read only should be equal to true. That means we cannot, so that means we are not meant to provide a value for auto by ourselves. We are not meant to do that manually. Like that means we are not meant to provide a value for auto by ourselves. What it means is this, that we are not meant to pass auto as a field. We're not meant to say auto and they provide a value. No, the auto is captured from the logged in user. So we're going to create another blog now. So I will just say, let's say React for beginners. React for beginners. Right. So don't worry about the slug. Let me just copy this and replace it here. And let's change the image to something else. And let's say it's true. Its draft should be true. Its draft should be equal to true. Okay, and then I think that's all we need. And then let's click on the send button. It says 200 okay. If you take it up, now you can see we have the author. Now the author is now returning an object, not just the ID, right? And we have his drafts are set to true. If his draft is true, his published state is going to be null. Understand? So the published date is always going to have a value when his draft is false. You know that if it is draft, that means the block cannot be seen by the public. It's only but if his draft is set to false, that's when the block can be seen by the public. So back to our Django admin. If you refresh this now, you can see now we have a new blog. You can see his draft is true. If you open it now, we have our slug. You can see now everything works everything just works fine. If I set this as draft to false and save, you're gonna have a value for this published state. So save, open it again. So it's called React. It's React for beginners. So now you can see now published date now as a value, right? So everything works fine. It's moving well. So we are done with creating our blog. So what next? Let's go work on listing out this blog. Let's work on that next.